The right always talks about freedom like they own that word, but what does freedom mean? Check this out. Leave your comments, ding the bell, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. This is what happened yesterday at this Young People for Trump rally. He called Democrats intolerant and totalitarian. He said that students who, quote, stand up for America and refuse to kneel to the radical left are good, and that the mainstream media and, quote, vicious Democrats are stifling dissent, and Democrats want to let anyone vote, quote, even if they're not citizens. Another blatant lie. He told these young people in the audience, you guys are smarter than Democrats. The Democrats want absolute conformity. Now just think about this. You're a young person, and the President of the United States, the most powerful person in the world, at least theoretically, at least up until the last few years, comes to your town and says to you, a young person, an impressionable young person, quote, Democrats hate our history. They hate our values. They hate everything we prize as Americans. Now, what would you think about the Democratic Party? Which he won't even use its proper name, the Democratic Party. He calls it the Democrat Party. There's no such thing as a Democrat Party. He goes on to say, our country didn't grow great with them, Democrats. It grew great with you and your thought processes and your ideology. The left-wing mob is trying to demolish our heritage so they can replace it with a new oppressive regime that they alone control. When he mentioned the coronavirus, he called it the plague. He said, it's going away. Not to worry. It's going away. He said, what a great job we did with testing. We did ventilators. We're going to have a vaccine very soon. I guarantee you that's going to be his October surprise. He thinks that's going to get him elected. But about the virus, he says, people get sick from the other. Not just the virus. People get sick from all the other things that happen. You know what I mean. We got to open up. And then he called it, several different racist names. A spokesman for Donald Trump's campaign recently said on CNN that they don't require people to wear face masks at Trump events because freedom. Franklin Roosevelt back in 1936, actually, I think. Oh, not, yeah, it was 33. It was in his inaugural address, said, a necessitous man is not a free man. If you're hooked up to a ventilator and can't breathe, you're not free. If you're sick and can't afford to pay for health care, you're not free. If you're hungry and can't buy food for your family, you're not free. If your landlord has thrown you out in the street because you lost your job because of a virus and you can't pay your rent, you're not free. If you're afraid to hang out with your own family because you don't want to die from coronavirus and your government is refusing to do comprehensive testing and contact tracing, you're not free. The majority of Americans, virtually every poll shows, want to join the truly free advanced democracies of the world. They want a national health care program so nobody will go bankrupt because they got sick. They want free education through college and quality primary schools so every young person's full potential can be developed. They want food and housing to be rights, not privileges, as Franklin Roosevelt proposed in his second Bill of Rights back in 1944. But Republicans have told us that freedom means the right to die in debt. The freedom to remain uneducated. The freedom to be hungry and homeless. They argued that freedom means the right of a small number of rich people to suck up all the assets and resources of society, leaving almost nothing for the working class. They say the real meaning of freedom is more tax cuts for billionaires and more poison and pollution in our air and water from industry. That's freedom. It's time to take that word back, right? At the very least, it's time to take that word back. But this is what these guys are up to. They're using voter suppression because they don't want people to vote. By the way, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez won her primary by 50 points. Eliot Engel lost his primary by a substantial margin. He's the kind of Republican Democrat. This was a primary. He got replaced by a real Democrat. I mean, these are good signs, but look at what Mitch McConnell's doing with the judiciary. And this is what we're seeing played out. It's going to be played out before Congress in testimony today. And it's being played out right now in the Southern District of New York. You're seeing this in the D.C. case of Michael Flynn. You're seeing this in the New York case of Roger Stone. The buddies of Donald Trump. This is how autocrats and oligarchs work. This is not how representative democratic republics work. Our republic, it has been shaken to its core by this man and by this movement, this so-called conservative movement, funded largely with fossil fuel dollars.